Okay. Mm.
So welcome viewers to our next episode of Expert Speak series, where we bring experts from various areas of sustainability and organic way of living to share their insights and best practices. So today I have with me Ms. Sangita Sharma. She's the chairperson of Annadaana, a food campaigner. She's won many awards. She's also called the jewel of Karnataka. So really nice to have you with us here today.
Thank you, Karthik, and thank you, Narayan Upadhyaya for having me on board. And I so appreciate it because this opportunity to be able to share from this beautiful hotspot of diversity in the Sharavati Wildlife Sanctuary, where Annadaana Western Ghats is based. I'll take you through this journey of how sustainable farm solutions work at Annadaana.
Yeah.
To start with, I would say that what started me out on this journey is that I was so disillusioned with the corporate quest for life and for power, and there was always this thing of what am I doing, and it just kind of drove me back to my roots, where I wanted to understand where my food was coming from, because I love food, and food is what compelled me to its source, which is the seeds. And when I was, when I started to question why the food equation had gone wrong, and why I was having to eat pesticide-laden foods, and why my loved ones were suffering, I then started to, probe and started to travel the length and breadth of India to understand, where the food equation was wrong. So the first thing that came to me alarmingly was that the seeds were no longer in the hands of the farmers. It was in the hands of the multinational corporations, and the sad part was that this wherever I questioned, and I said, so what are you growing? They said, oh, company seeds. Then the second set of problems and the challenges that that the farmers faced was that the economic woes, because they had lost the traditional practices of sustainability. And that is where my search began, and we founded Annadaana with this little hope that we can actually start producing and safeguarding the indigenous varieties of seeds and take control of our food and safeguard the welfare of the farmers.
That's very interesting.
Thereafter, the whole vision of Annadaana is to kind of live holistically, and this is how we transform you to understand how you can actually sow seeds of sustainable thinking in children, and that is their impressionable minds. And what are the core focuses in sustainable practices is, firstly, having your own seeds and saving your seeds. And that can only happen when you are knowledge bound, when you are when you're trained with understanding that what is it and why do we need to save these seeds. And that's when you start building up the next generation capacity of farmers, and that is the youth. That is investment in our youth. So we then showcase that Annadaana Bangalore and Annadaana Western Ghats are these models which are replicable. And through this replicability, why is it that today, in this dire times of COVID, foods that heal plays such an important role? These two areas of the farms of Annadaanas, one is in Bangalore and the Western Ghats, and this is how we sustain our operations, where we are not funded by any government, we are not funded by any private organization. And you can see that we have schools that are students coming from schools, and there are farm trails happening, and the seed bank itself conserves thousands of varieties of indigenous crop varieties. And then we have publications galore, because we are a knowledge-centric organization rather than an input-centric organization, Karthik.
That's very interesting.
Here we have donated seeds to the flood victims in Kerala, and we have donated over 100 millions of packets of seeds across the country to farmers to enable them to become food and seed autonomous. Now, what are the sustainable, farm solutions that we're all looking towards, and that is towards, how do we go about doing the first measure in a farm? And that is recycling and ensuring that the topsoil of a farm is precious, and this genetic resource must be saved at all given points of time from certain sources of the farm itself. That is the rainwater harvesting pits. When you have healthy soil, it is automatic that you're going to have a healthy seed, because soil is like an expectant mother into which you put and administer nutrients and not chemicals. And thereby you will find a healthy nursery, a healthy plant, a healthy practices of being able to kind of, mulching the soil where you're using recyclable materials, and thereby you can see that there is a healthy fruit that comes out of it, and then we are a healthy society. Now, why do we need to save seeds? And that is so critical because for life, because seeds are food. Seed is the creator of more food. And as we would know that open pollinated seeds are true to type, and they are replicable, and they are mankind's heritage. It does not belong to a handful of multinational corporations. It, it is a gift of life to life itself. And this itself is when we say that if we are food secure, seed secure, we will be food secure, as we are at Annadaana. Now, the third important resource that we need to save is the water. And where we have rainwater harvesting pits across the farms, where it is giving back to the groundwater tables, and thereby we are actually enriching the ecosystems. The trees that are there are enabling us to have abundance of oxygen, abundance of microorganisms, as well as the flora and the fauna that coexist. And today, at the time when oxygen is so, it's priceless commodity, that today we are struggling with oxygen, whereby we can have one tree, protect her, save her, and it can suffice for two people in a family or four members in a family. The next resource that we need to safeguard are our indigenous cows, that are the treasure of a farmer, the treasure of the entire farming that facilitates itself into sustainability, because all her cow derived products, whether it's for planting materials, whether it is for the community kitchen, it is powered by biogas. This brings about a complete sustainability to a farm. Now, the important measure that farmers again have lost out in is monocropping, and that is where we practice what you call as intercropping, crop rotation. And how can you bring about control of the pest attacks by having companion cropping, and you can grow a diversity that is just unimaginable. So here we have even the little grains which are nourishing, their nutrients from sorghum to millets. Everything is grown in-house. Annadaana's whole model is about growing all your needs for your family members of communities that are residing in here, as well as making the excess available for sale, which brings about sustainability. How about providing some food to our bird species, who are actually, we say that there is a pest attack and suddenly birds have become pests. They are not pests. In fact, they are the ones who are actually, if you provide some pockets of the farm where there is corn growing, there's sorghum growing, you'll find unimaginable benefits that they will catch onto the pest because they're sitting up there getting food, and then they spot a little insect, and thereby they just kind of, pick it up and help us in our pest management. Who drives Annadaana? Today, why I'm presenting this to you is that we have deemed our farmers as laborers. We do not get farmers, I'm told constantly, because they are called laborers and they're treated with complete disrespect. Annadaana's backbone is our farmers and their children. It is they who drive Annadaana today. And this is our master trainers. These are our Western Ghat farmers, Krishnana and Sureshana. And here we have our youth, their children, who have been raised on the farm, driving Annadaana's operations with great pride. This is young Pavan, who's a farm administrator. He knows seed saving. He was born with the seed, and so he has young Arun, who was so tiny that he was only about 1 year old when he was brought into the farm. And today he's an agronomist. And when you tell him, Arun, You have an exam, please study. And he says, Amma, it's biology. Biology is in my fields. I study, I have no problems. And he comes away with 65%. Now, this is when children become totally, groomed in kind of understanding how important it is to take support to their parents, take pride in their roots, giving workshops, understanding and supporting their parents. Just because a farmer is handicapped or physically disabled, as Venkatana is, doesn't give us the right to exclude him out and say, no, you're not fit to work. Today, this is Venkatana who's providing us food on the farm, and his diversity of a kitchen garden is so beautiful, it is unimaginable. Here, we, as the managing trustee, this is Ashok Kamath, who actually is providing sustainable plumbing solutions, sustainable electrical solutions for farmers to be not dependent on outside sources. Which pumps must be used, which plumbing or rather irrigation measures must be taken. The training is provided to farmers, interns from across the country. Now, how are we self-sufficient today? You will see now. Everything that we grow in-house, we grow food which is sustainable. The youth, everyone is involved. It's a beautiful community existence where all our cereals, grains, legumes, seed diversity is all produced in-house. Oils are in-house. Our butter is in-house. Our ghee is in-house. So everything that we are producing is, whether it is spices that heal us, whether it's fruits that heal us, this is all in-house. Now, as a community, we've always believed that we must combat any form of disease. So we produce our own fermented drinks like beet kvass. It's a beetroot drink, which is fermented with whey, and every farmer gets to drink it to build their immunities. We have biogas. We also have cob ovens that bake our biscuits, our breads, and we make our own elixirs, which was brought out, like it was introduced last year, where it is made from star gooseberry, which is high in vitamin C, and with black raisins that are actually kind of giving all its antioxidant properties to be able to heal your chest, including ginger. Here we have everything that is produced in-house, whether it is our breads, whether it is our cheese, whether it is our smoothies, our pickles in-house. And that is where we say, you invest in our farmers and you give them the respect, you will automatically find that there is coexistence that is happening on many levels. And we start them young. We start them with yoga. We start them with giving them values, giving them growing with Annadaana, giving them opportunities to explore their skill sets, giving them arts that heal. Why is it that a child must always be, indoctrinated into agriculture in the wrong methods? These practices can come by encouraging children to love agriculture, love their spaces and seed crafts, churn your own butter. As this young girl, you will see, is churning the butter daily, and it is incredible. Now there's young Deepa, she loves baking. And celebrations that are happening here, whether it is a birthday celebration, whether it is, making everything that is, when visitors come, that is where we find that the important thing you start is through training. This is when you're knowledge bound, and youngsters, our youth like Renuka, who actually is a super farm educator, is demonstrating to farmers, whether they're tribals, whether they're urban children, whether they are, visitors from all walks who come in. And language is absolutely not a barrier, Karthik, in this, because we are demonstrating on the field that this is something that you can do, we can do. And so many children that come to us, over 200,000 students come for a farm trail called From Soil to Seed to Plate, with visitors coming to understand the journey of the food, because we showcase why it is necessary that even you can take that leap of faith. You can go that extra step to say, even if you don't have an agriculture background, even if you don't have a science background, I have no backgrounds, no degrees, qualifications in agriculture. But when you love food and when you love the whole system of sustainability, this is the outcome. There are interns coming from across the globe that come to understand and learn agronomy. They can stay for 3 months, they can stay for 1 year, and how a farmer, a master trainer like Gopala will coach fellow farmers in introducing him the best practices. And all of these practices at Annadaana has, has evolved with the farmers, interactions, their best practices, their dialogues. Imagine, how do we discard and dismerit or disrespect our farmers' inherent knowledge? And this is where agriculture has failed in our country and across the globe, because we have failed to recognize the farmers' skill sets in sustainable living. Here, why do we need to save our seeds? Each year, each season, we conserve hundreds and hundreds of varieties at Annadaana. Our food forest has a diversity, and this diversity is nutrient rich because we have something like 70 plus varieties of tomatoes, from black tomatoes to pink tomatoes to yellow tomatoes. Now, an orange tomato called Caro Rich has 12 times more beta carotene, and it has 12 times more vitamin C. So why is it not being made available in the supermarket shelves, as you would know? Is because there is a it's the corporations that are driving the food chain, and it is not us. So here we have a black tomato again. Now, why save seeds? Now, how can you not be food secure? One carrot seed, okay, takes 11th months to produce its babies, its seeds. Now, just imagine, we are always saying that we can't feed the population. But look at this one carrot seed. She's producing, one flower is producing 12,000 seeds. And one carrot plant is producing 150,000 seeds. How can we then be food insecure? Okay. Look at this diversity. These are no hybrid seeds. These are not genetically modified seeds. These are the open pollinated treasures. These are the heritage heirloom varieties of our ancestors, of the farmer breeders. This is the cereal diversity, which is whether it is wheat, whether it is rice, whether it is corn, whether it is the diversity that we are conserving. Each one has a unique flavor, a unique texture, unique taste. We have badne. Now they say badne, there is a pest attack in it, which is the bollworm. I'd like to ask this question, that if your soil is healthy and you're inoculating it with the organic growth boosters, how can a plant not produce a brinjal producing over 20 to 24 kilos per plant? One brinjal can produce over something like 500 seeds. Now, based on the varieties, this is Sharda, she's the Iron Lady of Annadaana. And look at this variety, Mattu Gula brinjal. This is an endangered species which has to be conserved. On one breath, it's a national geographical indicator. And this is where we say, this is a 4,000-year-old legendary brinjal. How can we lose it? One brinjal can weigh as much. This is another variety of brinjal, and they can weigh up to 1 kilo. And the campaign that we launched in 2009, which is My Right to Safe Food, was to give informed choices to consumers, especially mothers, that wake up. You don't need BT brinjal in your food chain. You do not need genetically modified crops in your food chain, because our seeds can make you rich in your health, rich in all facets of your life, because you have the it's not expensive. So these are many of the reasons why we have safeguarded this diversity, because it is our farmers' heritage. Annadaana Western Ghats, this is in 2016 when we located ourselves here, given the success of the Bangalore model. Today, if you see, this was the farm that we got, which was completely barren, drought, and there was absolutely no water, because the reservoirs of the back lake, the backwaters of the Linganmakki had completely receded. After 6 months, by giving the soil and pumping it with enough amount of nutrition, you will find that beautiful, rich organic matter started to come in. How did we do it? Just to give you an idea, we had our cows. Even when we didn't have our cows, we got the cow dung from the streets, we collected it. This was the farm. And what did we do? We started bringing in a whole lot of mulch, the green, the leaves that were dropped on the streets. We picked them up, flooded our fields with this 2 months prior the monsoon, and plowed the fields with our bulls. And now you can see that we had started to sow our paddy, and we have over 27 varieties of paddy today, which actually is nothing but thanks to the genetic resources that nature provides us in abundance. Is all that we've done is recycling. There are farmers from across Malnad that come to visit us. They love to see the diversity because we encourage these farmers that you can grow your produce next to ours, and there is a comparative analysis that we can, we can learn from one another and show them that this is how you evolve the best practices, by not disregarding and saying, no, you don't know it, we know it all. We don't know it all. We need to understand that our farmers have inherent skills, and we need to respect that through and through. Now you look at this, our paddy that is being harvested, and we now get over 3 to 3.5 tons per acre. This linganmakki that had receded, as I mentioned, we started we started kind of restoring the springs, started making pits across so that we could actually give back to the groundwater tables. And this was the land for our vegetable cultivation. And this is exactly where I'm seated right now, is next to the vegetable plot. And this was the condition of the soil. We started to regenerate it after 1 year. And today we pumped in so much of, again, the dry leaves that have fallen down, put it in with organic growth boosters, put in auto green manuring techniques, mulched it thoroughly. What don't we have today? We have brinjal, we have corn, we have tomatoes, we have capsicums, we have a diversity of carrots. And the Malnad farmers and the farmers across here said, we cannot grow our vegetables here. Nothing grows except for cowpeas and beans. We have marshmallows. These are the native varieties. We have sugarcane, we have cashews, and we have a home farm stay where you can come here, reside here, and have workshops. Now, this is where, as simply put, Karthik, I will not go beyond this, but I can, if you're interested, I can show you how we transform pesticide-laden soils for as little as a quarter of an acre in a poly house, where an elderly couple, 80 years old, want for their grandchildren, for their, for their children, for their grandchildren, a healthy living. And this was done in 2012 and 14. This was the condition of their soil: capsicums that were grown, hybrid seeds, laden with pesticides and chemicals. And the first measure and the move that we do is rectify the soil. She is
Wonderful.
the mother.
Wonderful.
Give her back the nutrients, give her back the 9 grains that she needs to kind of, build her strength back. Start giving her the time to kind of ingest, to kind of, break it down within herself. And then you bring it, cut it back, put it back into the soil. Don't keep extracting. We have to keep giving back to the soil every time she gives us a crop, which is where the roots leach into the soil. We need to give her back, especially varieties that are the Solanaceae family. You can see that after that, the diversity that we get from this is absolutely incredible, because 1 square meter, as I've mentioned here, gives you about 3 to 4 kilos of biomass. And within 2 months, you have over 12 tons of nutrient-rich compost. This is the young couple that drive this project. And today there are 18 varieties that are going across to the farm stores, and they're continuing to do this, So I leave it at this, because there are many projects that we worked on, whether it is saline soils, whether it is transforming, flood soils. And so all this is all about, as I said, the solutions are first tackle your soul.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful journey. And, like they say, picture speaks thousand words. So I think each picture had a story and so much of insights and inputs for all the audience. And I'm sure the 30-minute window is definitely not sufficient for this. And we need a lot more. So I had one question. So FAO estimates say that over the last 100 years, about 90% of the crop varieties have all gone. So do you think with the methods that you're following here and you prescribe, you think we will be able to revive that and bring back, more varieties like you showcased?
See, as I speak, we are losing over 200 species. And there's a danger that if we do not wake up to conservation, of reviving these seeds, reviving this biodiversity that is inherent for our existence. And today we are combating COVID because we have created this man-made catastrophe. Okay, we have destroyed our forests. Deforestation is going on. There are thousands and thousands of varieties in our forests, which kind of just make you wonder that how can we, the superior human species, in the name of science and development, continuously barrage on industrial progress? It cannot happen. There is hope. I'm an optimist to the core. There is hope. If each one of us had to save one variety of seed and make it available to others, okay, we are making it available through a seed catalog. And we are doing this because it sustains the efforts of the community of farmers who are working. It is possible. We are safeguarding over, like I said, we have over 29 varieties of lettuces. We have over 32 varieties of brinjal. We have so many varieties of beans. So this kind of diversity, all of us can do it. We can do it in a small scale, in a backyard kitchen. We can also do it, and then there can be a consortium in a residential complex.
Yeah.
You can still do it. You can have a tiny little seed bank. We've encouraged residential, people to kind of do it. If a farmers, we say, for instance, like the agroclimatic conditions in Meghalaya, where we are working on a seed bank and a food security project for the Meghalaya government. We are setting up those varieties that are indigenous to that area. That is the need of the hour. That safeguard those varieties according to the tropical climatic conditions that prevail there. There's something called seed mapping. That is essential. So before we set out on a project, the first important thing is that we map the kind of diversity that existed with our farmers. We talk to so many wonderful farmers, and they give us such beautiful lost knowledge that can be revived. So I say there is hope.
That's on that note, I would like to thank you because this has really been a very, very enriching experience for me, knowing that there were so many varieties which existed. I myself didn't know before this session. So I'm sure our viewers will also enjoy this session, and I would encourage all of them to connect with you, be part of the workshops, get their children there, because that was wonderful to see so many lakhs of children being part of this initiative. No wonder they've called you the Seed Guardian and the Jewel of Karnataka. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sangita. Thanks a lot once again for being part of this.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you very much. And I hope that, this inspires, many to kind of take that leap of faith and not to worry that whether they have green thumbs or not, there is, there is a hope that we can all coexist and not be instrumental in destroying nature. Let's rejoice and celebrate what nature is providing us. Let's celebrate her. Let's not destroy her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.